So welcome all to the workshop that I have titled From Chances to Choice, and why an opportunity-driven mindset matters. This workshop is one of the many workshops that we will be doing this year as Student Career Ambassadors, which is a team of young volunteers and employees in EUTOPIA Network that are supposed to help you with your career, seeking opportunities, and just starting your professional career from your study days. Okay, so I would like to do a round of introductions first. I think we briefly did it, but I think we have a new person joining us as well. So as I said, I'm Mina. I'm 24. I'm currently a student of second year of master's. I come from Cergy Paris University, CY Cergy Paris University, and I study political science with digital perspective. The languages that I speak fluently are only English, Slovenian, and Serbian, which is my mother tongue, and currently learning French. So if I can name one biggest flaw of mine, that would definitely be that I'm quite a late person. I think I'm always like 2 minutes late somewhere at least. And if I can name my biggest strength, I would say that I can be quite charismatic and persuasive of certain things, and it's been so far proven that way in my life. So I would like to maybe pass the mic to Melanie. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, so I'm Melanie. I'm 27 years old. I'm a student at the VUB. I'm studying communication sciences in Dutch. The languages that I speak French, English, Dutch, and Spanish, which is my mother tongue, my mother language. And my biggest flaw, I would say I'm someone who's quite insecure, and it takes time for me to open up. And my strongest quality, I mean, it can also be seen as a flaw, but I'm quite perfectionist. So it depends on how you see it. Yeah. No,
Okay, thank you.
The next one.
I mean, maybe you can choose the next person.
Alberto, he's the Alberto.
Okay.
So.
Hello, I'm Alberto. I'm 31. I'm working at CY Cergy Paris Université. I studied philosophy at Foscari, so I'm alumnus of another EUTOPIA University. I usually say that I speak two languages, Latin and English, and two dialects of Latin that are Italian and French. Biggest flaw, probably I talk too much. Strongest quality, probably I talk too much. So, Joanna, go for it.
Hi everyone, so my name is Joanna. I'm 29 years old. I'm currently looking for a job. I used to work for CY Cergy Paris University. I studied history and geopolitics. I speak French, English, Spanish, and I have notions in Arabic and Romanian. My biggest flaw would be a little lack of self-confidence. And my strongest quality, I would say, would be my memory. I have a very good memory.
Okay. Thank you, Yana. Who do we have next? Paula, would you like to go next?
Sure. Hi, hello everyone. I'm Paula. I'm 21, and I'm currently a student at Babeș-Bolyai University in Cluj-Napoca. My major is English language and literature, and my minor is German language and literature. And so, of course, I can speak Romanian, English, and German, and I'm also learning French. I would say my biggest flaw is my lack of confidence. And my strongest quality, I think, is my curiosity, because I always just want to know more about every single field there is. Yeah, and that's it.
Okay. And Roberta, would you?
Okay, so hello everyone, I'm Roberta Borgotti. I'm the head of the Internships Abroad unit at Foscari Career Service. And I studied foreign languages here at Foscari. I specialized in English and German. My biggest flaw, I think I'm a bit too shy and reserved sometimes. And my strongest quality, I think, is curiosity, because I'm a very curious person. I like, learning a lot. So yeah, curiosity is a pro.
Okay. Okay, now that we briefly met each other, I would now start talking more about, so this is what you already seen. This is what are the questions that I also ask myself as someone who is finishing their studies and moving on to professional life. One of the things that I'm often very opposed by or repulsed by, I don't know, that is often very hard to understand is what professional experience means, because often in the job offers they are saying at least 5 years of professional experience, 7, 10, 11, I don't know. And this is what it cannot quite can get you quite unmotivated or lower your motivation to even apply sometimes. And it's also when you're someone who has done quite a few things, when you've tried exploring fields, you find yourself in this situation where you wonder, oh, which of the skills that I have are actually good for this position, or do I even have the skills that are good for this? Is my degree enough? What should have I done differently? What should I do in the future to make my skills better? And to answer all of this, that's why we have this workshop today. Okay. Oh yeah. So these are the few memes that I been seeing a lot. So I don't know, this one go. Wait, I'm gonna go again. So 1, 2, 3. Okay. So these are the few memes that I've seen on my social media a lot. And I think they're very as much as I do find them funny, I think they're also a good representation of what it feels like to look for a job in 2026, where you often have to open LinkedIn. Then in LinkedIn, LinkedIn is a very competitive space. It can get to your mental health that way. You'll just see people oversharing their even private lives to some extent. Then as a young person, obviously you've done less, so you feel more pressure to do more. And yeah, I think it's very nice to see sometimes like this type of humor to sort of get the relief from all of the pressure that you constantly feel in terms of finishing degree and finding the job. So why this topic? So in December 2025, I've done a survey with CY students through EUTOPIA office as well, where 28 of them responded, and out of those 28, 3.2% said that they were confident in the fact that they will find their desired job. And then in terms of how their mental health was doing, so 2.82%, so more than a half again, said that looking for jobs and opportunities, internships, etc., is very negatively impacting their mental health. And then I asked what were some of the fields that they usually need help with, and this is what they said. So enriching the CV through experiences, dealing with mental health as well, creating a good CV and managing their LinkedIn, and again adjusting their goals, like always wanting what you want to be with versus what you will likely be as your first job. On this note, I would like to ask you, do you have any of your personal concerns that you experience? Like, what is the main concern that you been faced with while looking for internships and jobs. Is there anyone who would like to share? No? Okay. No? Okay. Okay, this is what our students have been saying. So there is the main language concern, or whether or not you speak it. Also about finding internships abroad and how this works, which Roberta will also explain in her part of the presentation. This person here was mostly explaining about the experience, as I've said, how hard it is to even look for anything remotely professional experience when you're doing your undergraduate studies or you're in your beginner years of studying. And also one of the people said, how can they find opportunities for Utopia Network, and where could they meet Utopia or people from Utopia Network? So yes, this is also a new diploma, which is, I think, a case for a lot of people these days, because we have a lot of diplomas that are now converging to different study fields. Mine, for example, is certainly doing so. It's not just political science, it's also data analysis and a lot of media studies and such and such and such. So in this emerging world, it's really hard to know what your degree versus the job offer actually mean and where they match. Okay, so to kind of help you, I tried to define professional experience by looking at some reliable resources, which in this case is European Personnel Selection Office. And this is what they said in long, very legislative terms. What I would say this means is basically that any professional experience is actually genuine and effective work. That is usually paid or compensated. Now, compensated is very important because a lot of young people do volunteer and do internships that are unpaid in terms of money. But for example, if you travel and your costs of travel and stay are covered, this is also counting as professional experience. Performed with an organizational or professional context. So any network, more or less, NGO, IGO that you're working for, volunteering for is or has the structure, and then is relevant to the job you're applying for. Of course, like if you volunteered, for example, I don't know, in environmental NGO and you're applying for something entirely different, this experience might not be that relevant after all. So here is what exactly it means. So it's employment, full-time, part-time, or freelanced. Internships and traineeships, paid, or as I said, or if not paid or incorporated in the studies, because a lot of degrees such as engineering usually have their internships during their study years. Then volunteering, again, as I said, if they have like similar working conditions to real jobs or like paid jobs. And one other example is also doctoral studies, but they cannot exceed 3 years of length. So that is professional experience. And so where can you look for these opportunities? Because I'm no expert, I'm a student myself and I'm still looking for it. I wanted to help you out by asking a nicely prompted question to an AI to see what it will say. And this is what we got. So LinkedIn is, of course, out there. And I would totally agree. I think we cannot, as much as it's very high pressure environment, I say we cannot really avoid it. Indeed is a similar, I kind of explored a bit. It's a similar type of application. Then European Employment Service is a service of I think European Union, of European Union. And then these other two I'm not really familiar with, but like if you want to explore them, you can go ahead. And then CV making platforms, Europass, the one I personally used and a lot of people use it because it's, as you know, accepted across Europe. Zeti is another one that has templates and is readable by AI. I think they're called ATS. I'm bad with this. So those basically those AI selection processes where the AI is doing the first or initial look at candidates. Canva, if you're more creative. And then these other two that it gave me are very powered by AI, which, again, I mean, you can use, but at the same time, I think it's always better to have a human touch. And from personal experience, what I would say, or where I would look for opportunities, is my uni email inbox, because people who work at our universities usually send us opportunities there. Career Services Office, if you know of it and if you have it. Around campus, honestly, like any poster, anything that you see might be your next opportunity. One of the most famous networks in Europe is Erasmus Student Network, and or any Erasmus Plus funded project. Similarly, any NGO, IGO can work. For example, I've did a lot of years in European Youth Parliament, and there is also MUN, I don't know, Amnesty International, all of these, like if you're in humanities, and even if you're not, like you can always find, I think NGOs usually focus on specific areas, so any area you're interested in, you'll probably be able to find. EUTOPIA's website and the socials, I think for us that are part of the network, is very useful. I think I've, in these 2 years, gained a lot of interesting experiences just through applying for things I maybe wasn't even fully familiar with. And among your peers and educators, and this is what I would call networking, just because a lot of cool things that I found out about was because someone else was doing them, and then I asked about it and enjoyed it as well. So there you go. And this is the disclaimer. Okay, and this is very briefly what a CV should look like. So personal information, professional experience. Okay, wow. Okay, so plus education and training, and your skills and abilities, and that's in a nutshell what a CV should look like. Then this is what the Council of the European Union says to do, is to tailor your CV. So basically to every job offer, keep it clear, prioritize information, include just the relevant skill set, not everything that you can do, like play volleyball, for example, and keep it very updated. And then not to overbury with what not to do is not to overbury with a lot of information, not to focus on your task, but rather on your abilities and how your abilities apply to the job offer. Leave the time gaps unexplained. So if you made a pause in studies, it's better to say what happened there rather than leave it ambiguous or unknown. Lie or exaggerate, saying that you speak Spanish when you don't, and make spelling and grammatical mistakes. Obviously, just shows the lack of dedication, I would say, to the job offer you're applying for. And okay, where to start looking? I mean, obviously, EUTOPIA has a website that has latest opportunities that you can try to look at. Now, I selected a few. So we have the EUTOPIA Certificate of Internationalization. I honestly myself am very interested in this, so might apply this year. Not to read you everything, I think you can also, I think this one is for everyone, like all the students, all EUTOPIA students can join. Also, I would let people from EUTOPIA offices, from EUTOPIA office, to say anything they want in this section, please feel free to. So then we have Digital Media Summer School, which is organized in CY Cergy Paris. This one is more for MA students, PhD students, and researchers. It's 15th to 19th of June 2026, and you have the deadline right there. It's the one that explores how chatbots interact with, are used in research in humanities, basically. Then we have Hydro Data 2026, which is organized by University of Ljubljana, and the UNESCO Chair on Water-Related Disaster Risk Reduction. So this one is late August to beginning of September, more directed towards PhD students. And yeah, that's basically. We also, I mean, we were supposed to be joined by a few PhD students as well, according to my form, but sadly not, I guess. And then the one last thing I think which is cool to do and to help the EUTOPIA office is to scan this QR code and maybe share your ideas on what you would like to see during EUTOPIA days as student, and what people from your Utopia or like your local Utopia office can bring to you. Okay, and of course, shameless promo, but if that was not enough. And this is, another shameless promo. This is me and my reason why I think you should take more opportunities in your life. So this is me being lonely, devastated, and sad when volunteering and when doing activities and opportunities with networks such as Utopia. And one thing I figured early on, not early on, but when I was, let's say, 20, is that the game changer is to be more people-oriented when you go to do these things and less, I mean, of course, task-oriented, but try to experience everyone and everything rather than just the task that's in front of you. And this is my, if I can give my two coins in what is important. So it's important to explore and to go beyond your field. I personally was someone who was studying hard sciences. Now I do political science because I started volunteering. Prioritizing does not mean you have to sacrifice other things, obviously. I like to apply. I mean, the worst they can say is no. So, well, or not respond. It is what it is. Then I usually think that we can do more. I mean, I always think that we can do more. This can also be like a good thing and a bad thing, because you might find yourself doing too much at once. But again, prioritizing, not necessarily sacrificing. Honestly, I feel that if we don't believe in ourselves, we should not apply in the first place. So I think believing in yourself comes first and then everything after that. Because how are you going to convince someone else that you should get that opportunity or job if you're not convinced yourself? And then this is very Gen Z terminology, but pay attention to details. I think that most employers like when you paid attention to their details of their company, of their organization. So sometimes saying those keywords can really show how in depth you went. That being said, I would now like to open the floor for your own advices, because I think a lot of us here have made some progress in their life experiences wise. So what would be your 5 cents to advices on looking for jobs and professional opportunities, whether volunteering, internships, etc., etc.?
I would just say not to be too, not to lose the morale when we get some refusal or some no answer, because that's life, and employers get tons of applications, and it happens that they cannot answer to 400 people because they got this amount of applications. Like the fact that it's easy for us to be able to apply for every job everywhere in just a couple clicks. That means that for everybody it's so easy to apply. So we just needed to change our approach to refusal in applications, and unfortunately there is a big factor in luck to be in the 20, 30, 40, 50 profiles that we are going to be checked, and not on the other 350 that unfortunately will not be able to be checked by the employer.
Thank you, Alberto. Anyone else? No?
If I may,
yeah, of course.
sorry. I think, well, my 2 cents would be to dare. If you have a job offer and you feel like you don't 100% feel in the criterias of the job offer, just try. because sometimes, I don't know, there might be something in your profile that might, that the employer might like. For example, when I applied for CY at CY, I applied for another job and I didn't get it, but they still offered me another one that fits better my description, my skills and my experience. So yeah, just try. You never know what might happen.
Okay. Melanie, Paula, do you have any previous good experiences that you would like to share, or something that you've done that you think made your skill set and your experience so far more richer?
The only thing I can think about is that if you want to get into a company, and let's say you check the careers page and there isn't anything, there is no job application available, you can still try to reach out people on LinkedIn that are working in the sector that you want, and you can still have get a job or even an internship like that. I've heard a lot of stories of other students that got an internship or a job. So in that way, so I think that's you should always try, even though there's no job application available. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. So be more personal, or you can be more personal when reaching out to people, or like reaching to individuals instead of mail companies. Okay. And Paula, do you have maybe anything to add?
I think I would maybe recommend also trying out opportunities that maybe don't really seem that appealing to you at first, because they may actually really help you develop some more of your skills. And even if you realize that, all right, maybe this field is not for me, even that is also good knowledge to have for the future.
Okay. Yes. Thank you. And now I think we will, I know that we will move on to our guest speaker for today, which is Mrs. Roberta Borgotti from Head of Internships Abroad Unit at Foscari University of Venice, and the former International Relations Officer. And I think she will definitely give us more than 2 cents on the subject. So Roberta, I will now stop my screen share and you can start sharing your presentation if that's okay with you.
So, thank you, Mina. Good morning, everyone. So thanks again for this interesting introduction. I do agree on your points, so don't give up. So I'm going to share my presentation. Let me check. Okay, can you see it? Yes. Sorry, I'm not very familiar with Teams, so I hope you see it. So I'm going to deliver, a short presentation about my background and how my university studies led me to a career at the university where I really discovered global opportunities. As you can see here, my educational background is focused on foreign languages. I have a secondary school diploma in foreign languages. I studied English, German, and French. Then I enrolled on a BA at Foscari, where I specialized again in English and German. I studied languages, literature, civilization, the science of language. And then I finished my studies in 2005. I obtained an MA in European and post-colonial languages and literatures. Again, I studied English and German. And I can well say that, my background in in languages paved the way for a career in international relations and global opportunities. So after graduating, I started to look for a job, and at that time, so more or less 20 years ago, the career services, at least in Italy, were not well developed. There were some offices, some placement offices established by law, but they mainly dealt with internships in Italy and abroad, because the Ministry of Education and University established that all university students had to carry out a traineeship to graduate. So at that time, the placement offices were really concerned about offering internships to students. So they worked a lot with local, regional companies, to develop such opportunities. But I studied foreign languages, so I was more interested in going abroad to improve my language skills. So in 2006, I won a scholarship established by the Irish Ministry of Education, and I taught Italian in Dublin for 1 year. I was a language assistant at a secondary school, so that experience was really, really important, because I was there alone in a small village in the surroundings of Dublin. And of course, I grew a lot in terms from a personal and also, let's say, professional point of view, because it was my first job experience. Then I came back to Venice. I worked 1 year as an event planner. As you probably know, in Venice there are a lot of events going on throughout the years, so not only for the Biennale, but also for other private events, for large companies and associations. So it was really tough, and again I learned a lot, because you have to when you organize an event, you have to plan everything, so I'm quite precise, but there are also many negative, let's say, surprises, because you receive a lot of last-minute requests from customers. So you always have to find a solution and come to terms with customers, and it was not always that easy. So as I said, both roles provided me with basic and essential professional skills. So I learned how to behave in an office, at a school. I learned how to communicate, how to talk to colleagues, to directors, to professors, to customers, because you have to use different styles according to the person you're talking to. But in both cases, I realized that teaching and event planning weren't my passions, because when I was in Dublin, I found it a bit hard to involve students. They were teenagers, and I'm not a very communicative person. I'm quite shy, as I said at the beginning, and involving students who were, of course, English mother tongue was really hard and difficult, although the professors, the teachers supported me a lot. But they were all speaking English, and they were not very interested in learning a foreign language. So it was really difficult to find tools and ways to create a liaison with them. But both experiences were positive, and at the very end, I had a sort of epiphany. That's what I say, a sort of aha moment. So thanks to the task I carried out as a teacher and as a an event planner, I realized, I discovered that I did like carry out office support roles and activities. I did like, and I do like project management. So I like working at an office. And so I do think that roles must always align with how you naturally function. So your personality matters. It's something that also Mina said. So consider your character, your features, your skills, what you like. And also, this is a very personal tip, consider work-life balance. Because, for example, in my case, of course, I do like my job and I do like my past jobs, but I also have hobbies. So I truly believe that life is made up of work, but also hobbies. So I'm very sportive. I like swimming. I like going to the mountains. I like traveling, and I do need time for my hobbies to feel fine. And so I do think that the compromise, what we call work-life balance, is really important to perform at best when you're at the office, and also perform at best when you are outside the working environment. So after this 2 professional experience, I was hired by Foscari University. I started in 2007 as an international office specialist. I stayed at the international office for 10 years. I mainly dealt with cooperation agreements with universities worldwide. I managed the faculty mobility, both incoming and outgoing. And so I was in contact with many visiting professors, and I supported our professors to go abroad for teaching purposes. I coordinated international delegations coming to Venice to visit our university, and to establish memorandum of understandings, or to develop research and cooperation projects. And then I had the opportunity to travel a lot worldwide, because the university decided to increase the percentage of international students. So in order to recruit international degree seekers, myself and also my colleagues took part in international fairs abroad. We delivered presentations of Foscari curriculum at secondary schools abroad. So I really traveled a lot. So that was a very beautiful, moment of my career. Then I got a promotion, and in 2017 I moved to the career service, where I became the head of the Internships abroad unit. And basically we manage global internships for students and recent graduates. We have funded internships through Erasmus, through ministerial funds, but we also have volunteering experiences. At the same time, we invested a lot of time in developing training activities like seminars, webinars, and workshops about skills development, about CV advice, soft skills. We also organize a cycle of seminars on foreign countries, where our trainees go to carry out a traineeship. So we create job hunting resources to support our students and graduates. And as I said, I'm very happy now. I'm very satisfied of my current job. I'm part of the administrative staff at the university. Of course, there are always pros and cons. So as you can imagine, you know, thanks to my business trips and my tasks, I had, you know, benefited from global exposure, and I had the chance to visit many universities abroad, many corporate partners abroad. So I had, you know, also the opportunity to monitor the partnerships and how, you know, internships were taking place. So it was also a good opportunity to monitor, you know, all the processes. And I do feel an integral part of the university, of the institution, because, you know, I'm aware that I'm contributing to its mission, so to increase international opportunities for our students and graduates, but also for our faculty staff. At the same time, where I have and we have as staff, you know, the possibility to attend a lot of training courses for upskilling purposes. So there are a lot of lifelong learning opportunities. And another plus we have regarding, you know, the work-life balance I mentioned before is the possibility of working from home, so remote working. We work 2 or 3 days from home, which is really, really good, independently from having kids or, you know, personal problems. But it's a very good, you know, opportunity because you really have, you know, time for yourself and for your life after work. At the same time, there are negative aspects, as everywhere, I think. For example, to make a career, to get promoted, you know, there is a very rigid progression. So this means that you have to pass written and oral exams, and these exams take place very rarely. And so it's not so easy to get a promotion compared to the private sector, at least in Italy. And also the salary gap is inferior compared to the private sector. So, you know, but I think that if you find a good balance, if you feel fine, I mean, if you're satisfied, salary and career progression, you know, might be overcome, so to say. So that was my CV and my, you know, steps. Now I have, you know, recapped, you know, some points, some suggestions that I would like to share with you and that we share with our students when they come to our desk. So first of all, get to know yourself. So self-assessment is very, very important to know your personality, know your skills. So reflect, you know, when you are at university, just reflect on the experiences you had. I'm talking about internships, but also part-time jobs or volunteering works or other sorts of collaborations you had at the university. And all those experiences helped you develop skills. So always think about which tasks made you feel energized, made you feel proactive and positive. So think about the fields in which you excel, the fields you like the most. What is your ideal job description? So again, self-reflection is at the base, is the foundation. Our counselors and speakers always point out this aspect because, you know, you grow from a personal and professional point of view, so you flourish, as it's written here, when your role aligns with your natural abilities. Another important point I'd like to stress is related to research and exploration. I mean, you know, look for career paths. First of all, make the most from your university. As Mina said, go to your career service or placement office. Internships are very important, but also career fairs, recruiting events, or company visits and company presentations, but also mentoring projects. We have a mentoring project here for students and graduates, and you have the chance, you know, to job shadow a business expert or a professional, and it's a sort of one-to-one guide you receive, and it's really important to have a, you know, comprehensive introduction and overview of that working area. So you know, just, you know, join the and, you know, use what the career service offers to you, because, you know, internships and recruiting events, you know, are really important, and they help you understand if that area, if that job is the perfect one for you before committing. Another important point is what we call here the continuous learning or lifelong learning. We all know that the labor market is very competitive, so sometimes an MA might not be sufficient. So always try to check, you know, if a graduate degree or a post degree or a specific certification or executive course is required to get your target role. Here I put the most famous platforms offering most free courses like Coursera, Udemy, edX, and Allison. Because recruiters, while checking, you know, their CV, the CVs are always, you know, positively impressed when they see that the candidate has attended one or more specific courses, because it means that you are proactive, that you want to learn, that you're curious, that you're eager to learn, and that you believe in continuous learning. So that's another point to consider. And of course, another suggestion we always give is concerns networking. So it's very important to build connections when you, for example, carry out an internship, or when you go to career fairs or to company presentations. Internships and volunteering are low-risk ways to test different industries, because you spend 2-3 times at a company and you can really understand if that work and working area is suitable or not. And of course, stay informed via EURES, via LinkedIn and the International Labour Organization about the labor market, about the market trends, and to find, you know, also opportunities in your own country, but also abroad. So just to sum up, you know, it is very important right now, nowadays, to be flexible, to stay flexible, because the job market is constantly evolving, and so adaptability is a keystone, you know, in your career. And always remember that your first job doesn't define your entire life. You know, I started as a teacher, and now I work at the universities as administrative staff. I coordinate internships abroad, so I completely changed my perspective, and I studied a lot of literature, but then, you know, had to attend other courses to specialize, and so, you know, it's a continuous journey. And as I wrote here, career exploration is a journey of introspection, research, and proactive action. Okay, so thank you. I don't know if you have any questions or curiosity, or I don't know if you have, you know, career service and career or placement offices at your universities, what they offer, how they support you. I mean, that's all.
Thank you so much, Roberta. This was a lovely intervention, and I personally really liked how you stressed the work-life balance and how important it is, because we need to feel good while we work.
Believe me. As an event planner, I was sometimes, you know, very sad, because especially here in Venice, you know, many events happen at weekends, so you have no time for yourself, no time for your boyfriend, friends, or sports, whatever, you know. So, and in that case, I really understood and realized how work-life balance is important, you know.
Yes. And another thing that you mentioned at the right end, it was about how your first job does not define your career, and I think this is very important to anyone who's starting to hear, because I think a lot of people are very ambitious coming right out of the universities. We all want, obviously, the most we can get. But yes, sometimes that may not be the case, and that's not the end of the world.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I would like to also welcome Eric, who has joined us while you were speaking. So we already did like a round of introduction. So Eric, if you'd like to quickly introduce yourself, tell us what you study, or what's your occupation, maybe how old you are, what languages do you speak, and name one of your strengths and one of your flaws. Or not. Eric, are you here? Okay. Maybe not. Okay, I do have one question if no one else has questions for Roberta. And that is, as I mentioned briefly, a lot of fields are now merging, and a lot of degrees are becoming more hybrid in the sense of what fields they combined. So from your experiences working in your unit, would you say that this has been a trend, or how is it true? Is it false? Is indisciplinarity really important, and how important it is for people seeking employment nowadays to be able to perform in maybe even opposing fields, such as hard sciences and social sciences at the same time?
Yeah, I think that nowadays university curricula, you know, should, how can I say, blend different disciplines together. So studying foreign languages, for example, in terms of literature and language science, it is important. I studied a lot of literature, of English and German literature, but now, you know, it's good for my culture, for my background, of course, like reading, okay. But nowadays you have to combine foreign languages with other disciplines. For example, something related to economics, broadly speaking, I mean, because if you just limit to literature or grammar, or if you only limit, you know, to economics without learning, I don't know, advanced English, is not sufficient to get a job. And the same applies to, in our case here in Venice, to, for example, history of art. History of art must be blended, must be, you know, united or combined with, I don't know, event planning, event organizations, a bit of economics, for example, and but also, you know, for example, chemistry. We have courses on restoration of paintings. So you have to also learn history of art, for example. So yeah, in that case, yes, I do think that interdisciplinary courses are more successful right now than standard courses, let's say. Yeah.